But now let's get into our tips for the week. Now, last week my certainty pick was Richmond to beat the Bulldogs, and I got it wrong again. So I've got every single certainty pick so far wrong. So now I have to buy your bloody petrol. Do you need petrol?
Oh, yeah, that'll be great.
We'll go on Friday and we'll do it because we'll take it. I'll show it in the next episode, podcast. But yeah, who was yours? Yours was
I was the smart one who picked Geelong.
Well, you picked first, so I couldn't pick it.
Yeah,
you
picked
Geelong over.
It was the obvious one. It was the obvious one.
Yeah, so he got that one, which at half time you'd have been shaking.
I was a bit worried and
Hawthorn were like,
then about 3/4 times like, best decision I've made all year.
But this week, obviously, we've got Gather Round, and like we talked about, there's a lot of good games coming this week. I think could make a bit of a difference. How many tips have you got so far?
17. I've had a horrible season.
Oh shit! Alright, I thought we were pretty close. We should have been doing this. I think I'm in front of you at fantasy too. But anyway, I got 21. But anyway, round 5, start of Gather Round is Adelaide versus Carlton. Now this is, the Crows have been one of the better teams so far this year who have lost a couple of games. They're definitely in a good form at the moment with their forward line. But Carlton, they do have Harry Mackay playing this week now.
Yeah.
I think the Crows may struggle against their tall forwards. So for me, I've picked Carlton. But on the other hand, I don't think they've ever won at Adelaide Oval.
No, they've never won at Adelaide Oval. So they're the only team out of anyone that hasn't won at Adelaide. In 6 attempts, they haven't won there. But
the Gold Coast haven't won yet.
Yeah, they've won once. They beat Adelaide last year.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm going to be picking Carlton in this game.
Yeah. I've went the Crows. I just don't believe... I believe... Yes, Carlton have played good football, but I think at Adelaide Oval, the Crows have the better forward line, and they'll have the momentum... They'll have the crowd.
Wait, they have the better forward line?
You look at it, I believe they do.
Harry Mackay and Charlie Curnow.
Yeah.
You think Taylor Walker by himself?
You got Taylor Walker, you got Rankin, you got Phil Thorpe the last 2 weeks, you got Rochelle coming through there.
Oh, the last 2 weeks,
yeah.
Missing the last 2 Coleman medalists.
Hey, I'm just saying, they will win, the Crows. They'll win. Sadly, they'll win. But it'll be I think this will be the game of the week, I think. This one will be the game of the week.
Alright.
It'll be a good game. And I might be stupid, but I think the Crows, at the moment, this season, they have the better forward line. They don't have the best duo, but they've got the better forward line that will kick them a winning score.
Alright. I'll give you that. Alright, next game, we've got Fremantle versus the Gold Coast. I almost forgot about this game because I forgot they had a Friday afternoon game.
Yeah, it's a weird time.
I don't know why.
It's a weird time.
It's got the school holidays.
Technically, no, it's not. Technically, school holidays start. That's the last day of school.
Then why are they putting it there then?
That's what I thought. That's why I think it's stupid. I thought if you're gonna do it, you're gonna do it during the first week of the school holidays, and it's the second. It's technically that's the last day of school.
I think they could have just put 2 games on Saturday, to be honest, 2 games on Saturday afternoon, or just put all the 3 games on Adelaide Oval. But anyway, this game I really finding it hard to pick.
Yeah,
the Gold Coast have not had a good start to the year, but they had a really good game against Geelong. Fremantle got a soft kill against West Coast. That's all they've done this year.
Yeah.
My thing is, Fremantle do have a slightly better record here in South Australia, which I don't know if it counts for much playing at Norwood, but I'm going to be picking Fremantle in this game.
And you got to think also, they did play here last week. They played in Adelaide.
Yeah, so they've been here the whole week. They've been able to bond a little bit, maybe.
Yeah.
Let's hope. I'm going to be picking Fremantle in this game.
Yeah, I went Gold Coast. I just think that they've... To be honest, I don't know why I've picked them. I just don't believe that Freo have the forward line to win them a game at the moment. The way they're playing, they have the better defense. Freo, I just don't. I just don't know. I think Gold Coast can. Yeah, I don't know really. I think Gold Coast win though. They might have the better midfield in. A better contested midfield. I don't really know.
But you're picking the Gold Coast.
I'm picking Gold Coast. I don't really know why.
Alright. The next game, probably one of the better games in the round, will be Richmond versus Sydney. This is a really big game, I think, for both clubs. Both teams are off to losses. Richmond just came very close. Sydney, obviously very close losses under a goal. Both teams want to be bouncing back this week. Richmond, will be without Tom Lynch,
And
but
Nan
they do
Cur- and Nan Curvis.
and Nan Curvis. Sydney will be without Tom McCartan, Paddy McCartan, and Buddy Franklin. So both teams are they're definitely not playing their best teams, but it'll be. I think this game will be won in the middle anyway. Whoever can get it in their forward line more will win this game. I think because I think that's where. Or I think Richmond can win it in their midfield because their midfield I think is a little bit more stronger over the ball, but Sydney's forward line is probably better.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be picking Sydney in this game just because I feel like the last 2 games they've played incredibly poor football at times, and I don't think they want to stand for that. They do have an okay record here at Adelaide Oval, not against Port, but at Adelaide Oval they've got a pretty good record. So do Richmond, to be honest, but I'm going to be picking Sydney in this game. I think it's going to be a close one though.
Yeah. I think, I've went the Swans as well. I think Dan Curvis is actually very underrated. Like, yes, I think he's getting recognition, but not as much as what he should be, Dan Curvis. And that's where Sydney should dominate. They should be able to dominate out from that. And Sydney, just out of the stoppages late in that game against Port, they will want to respond.
Yeah.
I think like the last passage of play where Dixon took it out of the ruck and put it down forward for Finlayson to score, it was just a very sloppy error from Sydney. They'll want to fix those sorts of stuff up now, and I think that's where they'll beat them.
Alright, so the next game is up in Adelaide Hills Stadium. Is that what they're calling it? I think that's what they're calling it.
I think it's Murray. It's somewhere in Murray Bridge, isn't it? I think.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
I don't know where it is, but we're not going to it, so that's okay. But Brisbane versus North Melbourne. I think this is a bit of a danger game for Brisbane because they struggle interstate.
Yeah.
I think if this was in Melbourne, I think North Melbourne would have a huge chance. But for me, because it's in it's not in a North Melbourne home ground or whatsoever, I think Brisbane will win this game. Just because I feel like I don't feel like North Melbourne can really take advantage of the location.
Yeah.
I don't think I can pick it on home ground advantage by any means. So for me, I'm just going to be picking Brisbane in this game just because they're the better team.
Yeah.
That's really all I'm picking from.
Yeah, I've went Brisbane. I think it'll be interesting because they had all the scrutiny from last week to beat Collingwood. They'll be on such a high, and they shouldn't be able to throw it all away within one game. And you wouldn't think against North Melbourne they would, but also you've got the Clarkson effect. He might be able to inspire his team to win, but I just think Brisbane, just with the runs on the board, they should win.
So the next game after that is back at Adelaide Oval, Essendon versus Melbourne. I think this is a pretty good game. Unfortunately, I don't see Essendon winning this one because they still don't have their forward line with them. They have got a couple of soft kills. They beat Hawthorn and Gold Coast early. But, they did come back last week. Who did they beat last week?
Giants.
The Giants. So they've had three soft wins, if you could say that. But now they've got a real test against Melbourne. I think Melbourne win this game. They've had a pretty good record over in recent times here at Adelaide. They won their qualifying final back here in 2021.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be giving Melbourne this game. I think Essendon can give them a good run for their money, but for me, I think Melbourne's just going to be too strong.
Yeah. I think Melbourne as well. But it's going to be interesting, their forward line, because Ben Brown obviously was injured last week and they brought Tom McDonald back in and he kicked 4 goals. So they're going to be a squeeze for positions, but I think Melbourne just look too good at the moment to get troubled by Essendon.
Yeah, the next game is probably 2 teams who are this will be a real big game for both teams. Port versus the Bulldogs. I think this is one of the, maybe not it's not game of the round, but I think it's the biggest for both of these clubs.
Yeah.
Port coming off a big win, but again, like you said last week, they're a very big response team.
Yeah.
So we actually both picked Port to win that game. I don't think a lot of people would have. I know they obviously had a good record against Sydney, but I think not many people would have picked that game. But then the Bulldogs as well, they've been very good they've been able to win the last 2 weeks. They probably weren't too good against the Brisbane Lions, but they did claw themselves to win that game. And then against the Tigers, they played, I think they were the better team overall, so they did deserve to win that one. But this one at Adelaide Oval, I think it's a tough one for both teams to pick. For me, I think I tipped the Bulldogs actually. Yeah, I did. I've tipped the Bulldogs.
Yeah.
So I've tipped the Bulldogs in this game. The reason is because, one, they have a good record here in Adelaide against Port Adelaide. And I think, like you said, the Power are a very response team. If they want to prove themselves as maybe even making the 8 this year and proving themselves as a club deserves a bit more recognition than a response club, they need to win this game. I think there'll be a big crowd there. I'm expecting this as one of the sellouts. So for me, I'm going to be picking the Bulldogs, but I mean, I think it's a big game for both of them.
Yeah.
I think this is an 8-point game, I think, for both clubs.
I went Port Adelaide. I think after last week, it might mean bloody bugger all, but the way that Port Adelaide really responded, it was a hard-fought win. Maybe we didn't deserve to win it. Maybe we did. Who knows? But Port Adelaide have to win this game. If Ken Hinkley wants to keep his job, this is the week they have to respond. This is the week they have to win. They responded last week, but like you said,
this is to solidify their spot as an actual club in a decent.
If people want to take Port Adelaide actually bloody seriously, they have to win this game.
Well, then
and they do have the better forward line. Like the better forward. If you look at comparison, Port should win the forward battle. It's going to depend on the midfield battle, the contested possessions. It always has when these two teams come up. It's the contested possessions, clearances, all that. Who's going to win this game?
Yeah. Okay. After that, we get to Geelong versus West Coast. I don't really see much happening in this game, but a 60-point drubbing to the Cats.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to spend too much time on this game. I think Geelong will win and win comfortably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you got Jeremy Cameron, who's in career best form. He'll now probably 5 or 6 again.
He could get double digits in this game, honestly.
He could probably win the Coleman off this game. That's how bad this could be for West Coast.
Well, after that, we're just gonna move on because that's an easy pick. But then the GWS Hawthorn. This is at Norwood Oval as well. I give Hawthorn a little bit of a chance here, but I feel like the Giants have been playing good footy at patches. I think their problem is they just haven't been able to have any sort of structure going forward. That's what their problem was last week against Essendon. Also their skill level, but also the fact that they could not hit a target in forward 50.
Yeah.
If they can fix that up to some degree against Hawthorn, I think they'll win this game pretty well.
Yeah.
So I'll pick the Giants.
Is that your certainty pick or?
Yeah, so this is my certainty pick because it's against Hawthorn. I hope I get one. If I don't get this one, I have to buy a Giants jumper already. Yeah. So I'm not looking forward to that. But for me, I'm going to be picking GWS to win this game. I think they've got enough in the tank to win this.
Yeah.
And I think they'll win pretty comfortably.
So, yeah, I've went the Giants. The certainty. Dylan hasn't got one all season, but you will get your certainty this week. There's no way a team that kicks 9 points in the second half of a match should ever really be doing anything, really.
Who's your certainty pick this week?
Mine's the last game.
Oh.
Yeah. Giants win this. It might not be an easy game for the Giants, but I think they will win.
Well, then the last game we get to probably, the biggest game of the round in most facets is the fact that St Kilda versus Collingwood, undefeated versus probably the premiership favourite, early premiership favourite of the year, if you could put it that way. So far, they did have a little bit of a slip up last week against Brisbane, but for me, I think Collingwood will bounce back and knock St Kilda off their first game. But I mean, St Kilda have proved everyone wrong to this point of the season, so you can't really. Yeah. I mean, if they win this one, I think you give St Kilda a lot of credit going on for the rest of the season.
Yeah. Well, if the Saints somehow do win this, they are finals bound because you'd think they'd only have to win.
Well, I mean,
at least 9 of their last game of their last. I can't remember 5.
So what? There's 5. There'll be 23.
18 games. So they'd have to win at least half of their games to make finals if they win this week. But I think they will suffer their first loss. I've went certainty for Collingwood to respond. The ruck battle is going to be interesting. What they do, Collingwood, because they were exposed against Brisbane.
Yeah.
And Roland Marshall is going to dominate this game. So it could be interesting. But I think certainty Collingwood should win this. They will respond.
So those are our picks for this week, guys. But for now, we'll get into our last bit of the...
just got the multi.
We'll get into our multi. Sorry, I forgot about that. We'll get into our multi for the Collingwood St Kilda game. So as we know, every single week, Jackpot Junkies over on Instagram, he gives out his multis for every single game over on the Instagram channel, but over on the Instagram page, fucking idiot. But on this podcast, he gives us our game of the week. multi, and this week's obviously going to be the last game of the round, so this is our multi for this week. But yeah, you can run it away.
Yeah. So since we're going to the game, we're not going to be streaming it, obviously.
Yeah.
But we've won a pretty good one, I think. Like most of these players are in form this season and against each other. So I've went Brad Crouch for 25. He's done that the last 3 weeks, and the last 2 times he's played Collingwood. Sinclair, I've went 25 plus as well for the last 3 games which he's done. Noble for 15. He's done that the last 3 weeks. Josh Dacos, I've went for 20. I'm not going near Nick Dacos. I think he might get tagged by Windhager this week. Mason Wood is in career best form, all Australian bound, I reckon, at the way he's going for 20 plus. Pendlebury for 20 plus as well. And I've went Jordan De Goey for at least 1 goal. He has kicked it anytime scorer. He's done that the last 3 matches against the Saints, and he has actually done. He's kicked a goal in 2 of the 3 of the 4 games this season, and the other game he kicked 3 behind. So he's getting shots a goal. He's getting it. So that's my multi for this week, and hopefully we can round up this gather round with some nice pocket money. And always gamble responsibly.
As always, gamble responsibly, guys.